This conference will now be recorded.
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, this special meeting, November 23rd, it's 23rd in this special meeting of the Dayton Town Council. We are holding this meeting by telephone because of the COVID-19 pandemic and in compliance with the governor's executive orders. An opportunity to submit comment or speak during this meeting has been given to the public. The public has also been given a way to listen in real time. Present on the phone are our town attorney, Reed Murtaugh, our town clerk, Michelle Freeward, town marshal, Scott Taylor, town manager, Mark Harlow, and the members of the town council who will now identify themselves by roll call. Jen,
Here.
Stan,
Here.
Carla,
Here.
Ashley,
Here.
and I'm here, so all 5 council members are present. Okay, first of all, we'll start with the town manager, Mark Harlow. Do you want to explain the proposals regarding the community crossing grant for us?
Yes. Couple items of note before I go over the list. One is that this list has been presented to and reviewed with BS Engineering in order to get a cost estimate on these projects. They will be getting that cost estimate no later than December 7th, so that we'll have it in time to review prior to the December 14th monthly board meeting. At that time, depending on what the costs appear to be, the council will have the option of adding or deleting items from the proposal for the grant. So now I'll go over the list of streets. The first on the list is Dayton Road South, from the railroad crossing to the existing Welcome to Dayton sign. It'll include a 5-foot wide concrete sidewalk from Wesleyan Drive to the south to the town sign. It'll also include the approaches to both Shady Lane, Wesleyan Drive, as well as 2 on the west side of Dayton Road, for the garden center. And then also, by installing the new sidewalk, we will be required to put an ADA on both the north and south side of Wesleyan Drive. In speaking to BF&S Engineering, I told them that we were a bit surprised by the size and complexity of the ADA ramps that were installed in our last project, and we hope that something a bit more simple could be installed and still meet the ADA requirements. The next item is Shady Lane from the T intersection to the cul-de-sac, and including installation of the new cul-de-sac. This would be built and re-asphalted with 2 inches. The next item is South Street from Dayton Road all the way around to State Road. It would be milled 2 inches and new 2 inches of asphalt put down, as well as an asphalt approach in a restoration business where his gates are. The next item is Dayton Road North, from approximately the Dayton Station Pizza business to Main Street. That would be milled 2 inches with 2 inches of new asphalt put down, as well as key driveway approaches, as well as the approach to the Kindle Gourmet Popcorn business. Also is Republican Street from Main Street north to the dead end. That would be crack sealed. And over on Ohio Street, it would get milled and new asphalt 2 inches from Washington Street around the loop to the north till it meets with the alley that passes through. Also would be new driveway approaches for all residences on Cagle's Mill. And the last item, which is an item of note here, in researching, we had proposed doing Yost Drive South from State Road 38 to the T intersection that goes Circle K and Dollar General. And researching that is actually state of Indiana property, so we would not be eligible for any funding, and I'm not for sure we can even get a location to mill and repave that section of road. Any questions about that?
I have a quick question, Mark. When you said
Yes.
new driveway approaches on all of Cagle's Mill, I thought some
Yes.
of those were already done and we were just missing like a dozen or something.
No, they were all done on
Oh.
50 Falls, but none of them were done on Cagle's Mill.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And yeah, and it's hard to, some of those on Cagle's Mill, there's one driveway approach that serves 2 duplexes. So of course my question is that one driveway approach or is that 2? So that the number of driveway approaches varies depending on how you look at that.
Yeah.
If you look at them individually, there's about 24. If you just count them as a single driveway approach for 2 duplexes, it's closer to 18. But we'll also have as all these things, we'll have a firm price estimate or cost estimate for these. And as soon as I get that, I'll forward that to everybody so you can have time to look it over and get any questions to me that you'd like before the December 14th monthly board meeting. Anybody else?
This is Ashley Stevenson. Are we looking at repairing sidewalks on Cagle's Mill and correcting the sidewalk approaches to be ADA compliant?
Not under this proposal that I've got in front of me now.
Okay.
Those items were not for the BFNS for cost estimate.
Okay. As a thought, maybe that's something else that we should look at, where you got crews mobilized to do concrete repairs. Something else that they could take care of, and maybe be a little bit of price break because they're already out there working in other job anyway. So, just a thought. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, that's all I've got then.
Okay, thanks, Mark. And it'll be interesting to see what BF&S comes up with. If the total isn't too much, then maybe we can look at doing some more streets also. So we'll see how that comes out. So thank you. Okay, next we have on the agenda is a salary ordinance for non-elected officials for the year 2021. Reed, would you like to explain what has changed from our current salary ordinance?
Yes, the only change for the non-elected employee ordinance is for my fees. So change it so it'll be purely hourly at $200 an hour for town attorney, $190 an hour for Kayla Grimes, and then $115 an hour for paralegal fees. And then the other change is that there's just no appropriation for utility clerk.
Okay, thank you. Any comments?
I do. I have two questions. I don't know, like, if they matter, but number 3 that says clothing allowance shall be paid to all officers with their January 2020 payroll. That should be 2021 payroll. I don't know if that, like, matters. It's kind of obvious.
Yeah, I agree that should be changed.
And then up towards the top, when it talks about rate per, biweekly, hourly, daily, and monthly, for the chief deputy marshal and the deputy marshal, the total is the yearly total. But then on the other ones, it's just the total, like hourly, or the total daily, or the total monthly. Is that correct? Is that how it's supposed to be written out?
Jen, are you asking me me that?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have it written like how it should be.
Well, I know that there's no change to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other comments or any motion? Anybody want to make a motion?
I was just going to say real quick, if you guys do pass it tonight, since I have the Word document, if you guys are okay with me just changing that clothing allowance to 2021, I can reprint it and put it back there to sign.
Okay, thank you.
I did put both of the salary ordinances on the website. I'd like to make a motion to waive formal reading of ordinance 2020 dash. Does anybody know what ordinance number this would be?
14.
Okay. Ordinance 2020-14, salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2021.
Okay, you got a motion. We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion to waive the formal reading of ordinance 2020-14. We got a second by Carla. We'll take a roll call vote. Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And I vote, Ron votes yes, so it passes 5-0.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-14, salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2021 on first reading. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt 2020-14 salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2021, seconded by Carla. We'll have a roll call vote. Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Ron, I vote yes, so it passes 5-0. Motion passes.
I make the motion to adopt ordinance 2020-14, salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2021. I'll second.
Jen, can you add the amendment for paragraph 3 in the motion?
Yep. I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-14, salary and compensation for non-elected employees for 2021 with the change to number 3 to say clothing allowance shall be paid to all officers with their January 2021 payroll. I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a motion by Jen and a second by Carla with the changes in number 3 on the clothing allowance. We'll take a roll call vote. Jen?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so it passes 5-0.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to waive formal reading of ordinance 2020-15, salary and compensation for elected officials for 2021. I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion by Jen and a second by Carla. We'll take a roll call vote. Jen,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Ron. I vote yes, so it passes 5-0. Motion carried.
Okay. I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-15, salary and compensation for elected officials for 2021 on first reading. I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion by Jen and a second by Carla. We'll take a roll call vote. Jen,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Ron vote yes, so it passes 5-0.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-15, salary and compensation for elected officials for 2021. Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Jen and a second by Carla. We'll take a roll call vote. Jen,
Yes.
Carla,
Yes.
Stan,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Ron vote yes, so it passes 5-0. Are we done with all the salary motions?
Yeah.
I think we are. Okay. Next thing is we got the minutes approval with the changes. Okay, everybody, we got 22 minutes that we received a few weeks ago from Michelle. We're taking our time going through each of those because they need to be accurately reflect the meeting as it happened and something reasonably close to the order that has happened. We're making the changes and putting the items in order, but it's taking a while. So everybody make their changes and then I'll send them out to everybody and we'll actually okay these at the town board meeting 1st of December. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think there's 5 more minutes still that we need to get or something. So, but
No,
anyway,
there's not
okay.
really up to date.
Well, okay. Now the utility office, last thing on the list, utility office separation. We need to talk about that. Since this is a utility matter, I'll turn the meeting over to you, Jen.
Okay. Thanks. So as we discussed and voted on previously, we're working on separating the utility office from the office of the clerk treasurer. We're working on clarifying that the utility office and any employees are indisputably under the purview of the utility board and that town policies and ordinances apply. So we need to make a decision on how we'll have the physical offices set up. Michelle's made it clear that she has no intention of sharing an office space, so we'll need to spend the money to create a separate office space for her. These are the options I see. We could leave the clerk treasurer's office in the space it is now by putting the clerk treasurer's office in the back part and leaving the utility clerk up front by the customer window and then put up a wall separating the two. The clerk treasurer's office would be roughly 9 by 14 feet or 126 square feet. But the main problem with that setup is that the clerk treasurer's office would be accessed from the outside door on the side of the building. And that's not really a convenient option for the clerk treasurer or the public. And the payment drop would need to be relocated. So my thought is to make an office out of some of the space in the front room of town hall. If we take the area where the council table is set up right now and we put up a wall running east-west, we can make an office that's approximately 9 by 16 square feet, so it's 144 square feet. And then if we move the displays and that table that are at the west end of the lobby, we can kind of make up for some space that would be lost. So I don't know what everybody else thinks would be bad.
Well, I'd gone up there and looked at it and looked several ideas over, and from when my office was in the back room, the up front, everything. Uh, I think what you're talking about, Jen, is I sort of like your idea, I guess, if I'm picturing it. If you move that council table and make one big room in the front and just reverse the display case area and the table and the stuff where the antiques are, take them out of there. And we'll have the same amount of room as we do now for all the chairs, exactly the same. We'll just be moving 144 square foot from one end to the other end. And then the council table would set up how it was last year, which everybody seemed to like it back then also. So I like that idea. But anybody else got comments?
Do we have a cost on building that office yet?
Well, no, we don't. Wanted to get the okay to get costs after we discuss it, but we'd call in like our local guy Nate or somebody and get a cost on it to put in a wall there.
I think it sounds like a good idea. We could make an office there.
Okay. Any other comments?
I think you all are spending a lot of money on a personal vendetta against our clerk treasurer. I think this is just, nothing but a personal vendetta, and the cost be damn, it doesn't matter what it'll cost, you'll still do it. So that's my 2 cents.
Ashley, this has nothing to do with a vendetta against anyone. For a long, long time, the utility service board and the clerk worked together cooperatively, and it worked out fine. But that's all been brought to a screeching halt by this current clerk who refuses to work with the utility service board. We have no other option but to separate those offices. And Michelle has made it abundantly clear that she won't share an office. So we have to separate them. There isn't a way around this.
I agree, Jen, and I think Ashley, you're whipping up something there because that's what you always say on everything you dislike. Remember, I was in the back room for 2 years. The utilities board has always run the utilities office, which is in the front, has always set the hours, always set the pay, always interviewed and hired the utility clerk. And that's what they did when I was clerk. And we all worked along, and then eventually I just moved up front because it was convenient. But like Jen just said, that can't happen now. It won't happen. We've been told it will not happen. And so there's been a lot of arguing and everything. It has nothing to do with personal this or that. It's strictly the town needs to get by. Our office is open half the time now, 9 hours a week. So we just need to do this and have it back where the utility council is running the utilities office.
For many decades, this town has had boards and clerk treasurers, utility clerks that have, even through troubling times, worked together to the common benefit of everybody concerned. And it's strange to me how this one town council comes along and there's this animosity. Again, it's a personal vendetta. You can explain away all you want to, but at the end of the day, it's somebody saying no to you and somebody else, and this is the route you choose to take, and it will cost the taxpayers of Dayton thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. And it's a shame that grown adults can't work together and overcome a couple little minor obstacles.
It is, Ashley.
Ashley, do you see a way around this? Do you see a way around this, Ashley?
Yeah, I do. I've said it all along. It's a matter of folks sitting down with one another and talking things through. If there needs to be some mediation in between the different folks, then that's what needs to happen. I've been in businesses where you work with adversaries all the time, and you find the common good for the taxpayers that we serve. You don't do what has happened and just keep battling it out in public and stuff like that. You sit down like grown adults and talk to one another.
Hey,
I just
Ashley.
want to say for the record that I never said that I wouldn't. I stated that per the Indiana statute, if you guys take the utility office from me, separate me, and you guys need to remember that I am a completely separate entity, and the utility clerk could not have access to my office. Number two, I have tried to get Jen to come in here. I have the proof. I even offered for the marshal to come in here and sit with us so that there would be no confrontation. So please quit to the public that it's me, because I have tried multiple times, just like the APVs have been sitting back on the table for 17 days, but you guys refuse to do it because you literally want me to bend over backwards. And the only reason why the office is not open 29 hours a week right now is because you guys forced my utility clerk to quit with this drama and covering fees. So that's
Okay.
the reason why the office is not open.
Okay. Michelle, we didn't force anybody to quit. In fact, we said she's doing a good job. She chose to quit because of the drama that I think you created. When I had a utilities clerk, they interviewed and picked my utilities clerk and hired it for me. You said you will pick the utilities clerk and they got to work with you. They picked my hours of the office, when I was open, the time of days and everything. You did not let us pick anything. You so choose to decide the hours that utilities office would be open. The utilities council had a salary, paid my utilities clerk, and I stuck to it. I paid her. You have gone ahead and let her not work and given her holiday pay against all our ordinances, and we've asked over and over and over when we finally found out, and you still refuse not to. We have gone in there and asked you, like right now, you make us a copy of the minutes, but you read a copy of the minutes. We've asked you used to copy us.
I did email everybody the
Michelle,
minutes.
excuse me, I'm talking. You used to email
Well, you're
us.
lying.
I am not lying, Michelle. You used to
I
email
have
us.
proof you are.
Jen, could you please mute her so I can finish talking? And then you can talk, Michelle. You used to email us the reports and the bills and stuff that we needed, and then you decided not to. Then you said you would send them to it. You refused. We had to come up in that office, and it's very hostile. The things you say when we're up there. You record us. You say things. You knock us. Everything else, like when Stan and I were up there. But then you do say you will send us the information we need if and only if, and it's on the emails. It's an outright blackmail. You blackmailed us, said you'll send us that stuff if we take the security camera away. And then you go on and say you can't split this, you can't do that. And we asked you we wanted to have a say-so in setting the hours. You won't let us have a say-so on anything. You bully and harass us through 3-4 Facebook posts, through the website you used to have. It just goes on and on. So don't sit there and say it's a personal thing. We ask nicely. We don't bully. We don't do anything. It's strictly that you've laid the law down and we're acting now because we have no other choice.
And to Ashley, for you to say we need to sit down like grown adults and hash it out, and for Michelle to suggest that I bring our town marshal in there to get the information, I should be able to email and say, hey, Michelle, in the meeting, we agreed to work together to figure out a couple of repayment plans for these utilities that are behind. Can I get that information from you? And that should be, okay, here's the information. But it's not. I'm not giving that to you. You don't need that information. I've already done the repayment plans. It's not working together even through an email, what would be different about me going in there and begging for it?
Okay, I'm not going to argue. This is my final say. One, I did give you all that information. Tammy gave it to you 3 different ways, and that wasn't enough. You want an extreme detailed thing, so that does take time consuming, especially now that I'm in here by myself. Number 2, and this is my final statement, I'm not argue anymore. If you read himself out of his own mouth, it was either at the end of January or the beginning of February, when the council talked about me hiring a utility, Reed himself said the only thing that the council has regarding the utility clerk is to state how much she gets paid. He said, I did not need to talk to you guys. I did not need to show you who the people were or get your approval on who to hire. Reed told you that himself. So, one, I'm going off exactly what he told me and the council at that meeting. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to it with your own 2 ears. It's also what the state statute says. So read the laws, listen to what Reed said, and that's all I've got to say about it.
Okay, anybody else got any comments? I'd like to get estimates to put up a wall and move the camera that's back there and add any additional outlets that might be needed, so we can get these offices, have them once and for all. Get Mark Jones to move the computers and the printer and scanner to the office. So I'd like to make a motion to create a new office space for the clerk treasurer and proceed with the move at a cost not to exceed, say, $5,000 to $10,000.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion to create a new space and get some estimates, and by Ron, and a second by Jen. Do we have any more discussion before we take a roll call vote? Okay, Jen, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carla, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Stan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ashley?
No.
Okay, and I vote yes, so it's a 4-1 vote. I'll start tomorrow. I'll call up Nate and get some costs, and then I think I've already talked to Susie Bass in the past, because she talked to me about, she's already talked to Michelle about some of this, and I think once the room's created, it'll be a day or 2 switch over, and then everybody will be in their own space and should be happy, and we'll eliminate this continue arguing and everything. So
I just have a quick question, Ron. So
yeah.
when you guys switch offices, when you want to do that, then who is going to do the utility bills? Because that's going to be extensive training and another cost, and then hiring a utility clerk. So what does the residents need to look forward to in that time frame? Because you can't just let the check sit here.
We'll get it set up. So I talked to Susie, and she said get the room and everything set up, and then it'll be a day switch over, maybe 2 days at the most. It'll be a 1-day training, and then so at the most the office might be closed for a day or 2 at the most, and then immediately after that, of course, the utility board will decide on the hours, but I'd presume we'd go back up to quite a few more hours, and probably I'm just guessing here, we'll have to put out for applications, and the utility board will interview the people here pretty soon. We'll probably maybe decide that at the next meeting, or put it out, get the stuff out there so people can apply for the job. Does that answer it?
Yes, but I think you're not realizing how much it's going to be. You have no idea how detailed this is. Had it.
Well, Michelle, I know this much right now. We can't keep this way. You're getting lawyers, we're getting lawyers, everybody's fighting, and this is going to, it seems to me like, would solve a lot of problems for quite a few people, and you won't have to worry about us being on your back all the time, and we'll get information that we've been begging for the entire year, and we can finally get this stuff and run the office and keep it open. The most important thing is keep it open for the residents of this town. So, and it'll
I
go
agree,
back,
but I think
and
that
it'll
you
go, and
were
Michelle, and it'll go back to the days where the utility board council ran the utility clerk and ran the utility office, like it's done
no,
in many, many, many towns. So
Michelle, are you trying to offer to help the new person that steps in to understand things?
absolutely not. If you guys want to take it, have at it. If you guys aren't going to pay me to that position, you know, it would be a lot cheaper to do what
there you go,
has
Jen,
said,
right there.
to
There
do
you go.
mediation. It's not my responsibility. You want to take it from me, yet you want me to train somebody to do it. That makes absolutely no sense.
Michelle, you're
Just
not
don't
doing
worry
it
what's
right
best for
now.
the
You're
town.
not even, you don't even have the
That is
office
not
open
what's
half
better
the
for the
time.
town. You're taking office, or you're taking space, and you're still not going to have what you want to build is not going to be for me, my employees, and my records what the state statute says. And it's not going to be secure. You're trying to take the safe and a back storage unit from me. You're not doing what you claim to want to be doing. It would be smarter to put a utility clerk over there, because I have all of the documents. I'll have the money.
Michelle, our utility office has always been where it is. The town clerk's office has been there in the back, in the side, everywhere else. So this is,
Ron, you'll
we
give
can't
everything you
even
can.
get in and access our own security cameras in there because you won't let us. So don't sit here at these meetings.
That
There's
is
been a
such a
lot of,
lie. You've never asked, so quit lying to the public.
Jen, there's a lot of stuff.
Yes,
I
you
have
need.
asked, Michelle, I set up the meeting with Marshall Scott, the security people, to meet there. You called them and canceled the thing in progress as they're en route. So to hide the evidence and get rid of it. So let's move on here. We decided we're going to get some costs on this and we'll go from here. And I think as everybody can see, Jen just asked Michelle if she wanted to help, and she said absolutely not. That's how it's been the entire year, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and on Facebook. So we're trying to solve a bad, nasty situation here. All right. I want to, any of the other, we're done with the agenda. Does any council people have any comments before we end this meeting? Okay. I got a couple comments. I want to say thank you to Stan Kiger. Yesterday, he bought an American flag, a hand-sewn, a really nice flag. It was pretty expensive, and we hung it up on the poles as one size bigger than the normal cheap ones. And Stan is donating that to the town, and I thank him very much. We're going to put a couple other flags. One will be a Dayton Bulldog flag, and the other will be a POW flag, so we're looking for those. I also want to thank Stan for spending days and hours on end working with Mark to rewire the entire salt spreader and hook it up to the snow plow truck, which probably saved us in that entity $500, $600, $700, $800 alone. I also want to thank Stan Kiger for putting the lights in the police station, the ones that have burned out, instead of just replacing them all, and he will eventually replace them as they burn out. But thank you, Stan, for that. That probably saved us $400, $500, $600, $700. So everybody's trying to do what they can to save this town money. Anyway, that's all. Thanks, Jen, for setting up the meeting, and thanks everybody for participating, and meeting is adjourned. Thank you.